There's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I think it's about time everyone knows it. This is it.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly.
I'm obsessed with the Soldier Boy cover of Rapture. Oh, and of course, The Boys Season 3. I don't think this show could have come at a better time because not only is it an insanely fun superhero drama with a ton of great characters, it is also the most socially and politically relevant satire I've seen in a long time. So today, I'm going to be talking about why the newest season of The Boys is my favorite yet. Before I start the review, remember to like and subscribe and check out my channel for more videos like this. Alright, now let's get into it. The Boys Season 3 picks up right where the last one left off, and the biggest thing that happened this season is the introduction of temporary Compound V, which can give any human superpowers for 24 hours. I wasn't sure what to expect after seeing it in the trailers, but I think they found a great way to balance it out and it ended up being a really fun plot device. The first two seasons of The Boys work so well because our protagonists are going against such insurmountable odds that we can support their use of such questionable methods. But when Butcher and Huey give themselves superpowers, it draws a line in the sand between the boys. Even though Butcher has done horrible things before, this is the first time we see a genuine questioning of values in the group, when they must ask if using fire to fight fire goes against the very things they're fighting for. Butcher is so caught up in getting revenge that he isn't willing to listen to what anyone tells him, and he even hurts his friends in the process. Huey is so blinded by his newfound power that he loses track of what he's fighting for in the first place. Butcher got a lot of room to grow, especially in the episode where we got to see inside of his mind. It added more context to his relationship with Huey and Ryan. Even though the finale didn't end the way I was expecting it to, it was a great way to pull Butcher back from the dark side. Seeing how Ryan changed the dynamic between Butcher and Homelander was very surprising. I'm not surprised that it made Butcher hold back because we already knew there was some good left in him, but seeing it stop Homelander was very unexpected. Before, it seemed like Homelander was mostly using Ryan as a way to keep Butcher under his thumb, but with this, and Homelander meeting his dad for the first time, it is clear that family really does mean a lot to him. The fight at the end of Herogasm was one of the best scenes of the whole show. Seeing Homelander genuinely scared for the first time in the whole show was amazing. The action is never the main focus of this show, and that's why it works so well because when scenes like this happen, it's always to highlight important character moments. We got to see Homelander and Soldier Boy both scared for the first time, and Butcher and Huey feeling real power for the first time when they're fighting Homelander. My favorite part of the action scenes in The Boys is that they are scrappy as hell and they never hold back. The choreography and the editing are never super impressive, but they get the job done. I do think the editing matches the intensity of the scenes quite well, especially in this case, because it felt like we were getting thrown with every punch as we're switched back and forth between them. You could feel the weight behind every movement, and it was super fun to watch. I think my favorite part of this fight, though, was Karl Urban's facial performance. He had the craziest look in his eye, like the high of his power trip had finally kicked in. Even though I was hoping for more of a rematch between the three of them in the final episode, I still think the way they defied expectations worked very well. There was a lot of great character building this season, and I think that's what made it my favorite season of the three so far. Annie has always been the one true hero of this show, but I think the pairing of her and MM was perfect in the last few episodes. MM has always stuck to his values, but I like that his limits kept being tested this season when he finds out Soldier Boy is still alive. I like that even though he came close to breaking his own rules, he still held back through all of it. He was probably my favorite character this season, and that moment with his daughter at the end of the season was so heartwarming. There was a lot of messages about family this season, but I think MM's was easily the most compelling. I don't know what's going to happen in Season 4, but if anything happens to this man, I'm going to riot. The character building for Frenchie and Kamiko was really well done too. Frenchie's past catching up with him and having to come to terms with how his father really screwed him up pushed his character in a new direction, and I think it was paid off really well in the last episode. A few of the plot lines involving Frenchie in the middle episodes weren't my favorite because they felt so disjointed from the rest of the story, but when it came to him actually dealing with all of it, I really enjoyed that. Kamiko didn't have as much time for development as the other main characters, but everything she did get was very powerful. She was fed up with being used as a weapon and feeling like a monster, and seeing how happy she was to lose her powers was very conflicting. The The scene where Frenchie and Kamiko discover she can't heal anymore was acted to perfection, and it made her choice to take them back even more impactful. The chemistry between the two of them was on point for the whole season, and that whole musical number was amazing. Then we have the newest addition to the roster, Soldier Boy. No, not that one. This one. Jensen Ackles was absolutely hilarious as Soldier Boy in the best way possible. I'm not a Supernatural superfan or anything, but I have seen a lot of reruns on TNT, so I was looking forward to seeing him in this show, and I think the casting was perfect. First of all, he just looks cool as shit with an awesome costume, but he's also a more realistic version of a man-out-of-time character like Captain America. He still looks and acts the exact same way as he did in the 70s, along with all of his dated prejudices and social outlooks. What I find so funny about him is that he just didn't give a crap about anything. He didn't care what people thought of him, and he definitely didn't care about any collateral damage. The twist that he's Homelander's biological father really spiced things up for the final episode. It genuinely seemed like Soldier Boy might team up with Homelander for a minute there, but when he just completely shit on him, it was perfect and you could tell how badly it pissed off Homelander. One storyline I'm very interested to see more of next season is with Aetrain. In Season 1, he was just as much of a villain as Homelander, but seeing him attempt a path of redemption has added a lot of depth to the character. He obviously hasn't done a good job doing the right thing so far, but at the very least it seems like he has good intentions. The commentary on police brutality was a great way to ground him, and I hope they find a way to pay it off completely next season. Whether it be with a full redemption arc, where he creates social change, or even just standing up to Homelander like he's been unable to do so far. What they did with Black Noir was really interesting too. He's mostly stayed on the sidelines, but actually getting to peek into his mind and backstory was different. We got to see how badly he got messed up and how scared he is of Soldier Boy through these funny animated animals in his mind. And in the end, he finally got to let it all out. Or should I say, he finally got to let out all the blood and guts from his chest when Homelander impaled him. As far as social satire goes, The Boys has touched on just about everything at this point. Probably my favorite part of this season was all the detail put into the sets and production. It's always been very critical of big business and capitalism, but here it feels like it's cranked up to 11. I love the whole theme park set and the obscene amount of propaganda in every single scene. It feels like there was so much thought put into every single inch of the set and every single prop, and it adds to the commentary and social satire. The thing that really set this season apart was how much importance they gave to the response of the public. This felt especially relevant to the real world right now, and Homelander being supported by the far-right reactionaries is my favorite bit of satire this show has done so far. He really did not hold back at all this season and let everyone see his true psychotic self, but in a much different way than expected. Season 2 set up this expectation that Homelander was going to snap and go on an all-out killing spree. But when this happened instead, it was even scarier because we are literally seeing the same thing playing out in the real world on the news every day. Also, fuck this guy. He pissed me off so much every time he was on screen, and that moment in the last episode just about made my blood boil. No idea what's gonna come of this character, but I really hope he ends up dying in some brutal way next season. Everyone likes to say that this show is the perfect representation of what would happen if superheroes existed in the real world. While that might be the case, I think that explanation does The Boys no justice. To me, this show is much more than that. I would call it a perfect metaphor for how power and influence can affect people. It's no coincidence that there were so many things mirroring reality in this season. Homelander and the mega corporation that he works for are direct translations of our politicians and people in power. It's such brilliant writing and such a great concept for a show that keeps getting better every season. The way this season ended was literally exactly what happened with that idiot Kyle Rittenhouse and other crazy white supremacist people like that. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Season 4 features the public staging an insurrection at Vought Tower in defense of Homelander. Then you have Huey and Butcher's temporary powers, giving them a taste of what it's like to be in control. It perfectly shows how addicting true power can be and even the physical and mental toll it takes on them in the end. Once again, I just want to commend this show for packaging such a poignant political and social satire in a nice little superhero package for anyone to take in. There was a ton of great pop culture references in this season too. I love that scene with Aetrain making fun of that ridiculous Kylie Jenner Pepsi commercial where she stops racism with a Pepsi. And then they make fun of that Imagine video that all those celebrities made a couple years ago for COVID. And then you have the whole reality show where they pick the next hero, where we get that amazing song from Supersonic, God rest his soul. And then, as you already know, I love the Soulja Boy Rapture cover. As much as I like Blondie, I genuinely think I could listen to this version of the song for the rest of my life. One thing this show doesn't get enough credit for is how great the visual effects are. First of all, I don't think I can talk about Season 3 of The Boys without mentioning that one scene in the first episode. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's just say it's very reminiscent of a meme about Ant-Man and a certain purple butthole. I would show a clip of it here, but I'm guessing YouTube would not be too fond of that. This is probably the most insane scene in the entire show, and that's saying something because this show has a tendency to go off the rails. Just like with that first scene of Season 1, this scene lets you know exactly what to expect for the rest of the season. It was like the show was saying, we know it's been a while since Season 2, so here's a little reminder of what we're all about. And then it's just the most insanely graphic, fucked up shit you can think of. They're constantly finding new ways to top the gore every season, whether it be exploding heads, exploding whales, or a white supremacist having his whole body grinded against the ground at super speed. And it all looks awesome as hell. I don't know how they're going to top it next season, but I know I won't be surprised when they do. The Boys is the best superhero show on TV right now, and Season 3 is the best yet. I'm already insanely hyped for Season 4, and it's going to be so hard to wait. I'm going to give Season 3 of The Boys a 9 out of 10, and if you haven't seen this show and weren't completely turned off by the way I described it, then this is a must-watch in my opinion. Let me know what you thought of The Boys Season 3 in the comments and how you think it stacks up to the previous seasons. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe and check out my channel for more content like this. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.